Hey, let's try and fix something today. Okay, the subject of the repair today is an old Logitech M570 trackball. I really like this type. They don't make them anymore. They do. I have a replacement, um, the M575. Really don't like it that much. I mean, nothing really wrong with it. It's pretty much identical. I I like my I like my old one better. It did develop a problem with the right mouse button. It would not click. It uh, Anytime that you used the right mouse button, the menu would come up and then immediately go away. It just I think that the switch is shot in it. So I'm going to yank this thing apart. We're going to change out the switch, and hopefully that will cure the problem with it. Okay, in order to do this as quick as possible, you need to grab all the tools that you're going to need to get this job done. What the hell are you talking about? You don't need any of this shit. Okay, you need some of this shit, but not all of it. Why are you lying to these people? All right, fine. We got the small screwdriver set. We got the soldering iron. We got the solder. We have a way of getting rid of the solder on the switch that we need to take out. And of course, we have the mandatory mug of coffee. See, this is better than freaking everybody out. How you want to get this done depends on really how much money you want to spend. The most headache, of course, is using this braided copper wire to remove the solder. A better option is use a solder vacuum. Uh, Generally, you have to heat the solder with a soldering iron and then very quickly get in there and trigger the vacuum. Now, the first two options are really easy if you have 5 hands. Unfortunately, I only have two. Personally, I would highly recommend that you go with the simplest and easiest option. Maybe a little more expensive, but it's going to save you a whole lot of headache. And just get the electric heated desoldering kit. Honestly, you can hit Amazon. I think they run about 25 to maybe $30. Honestly, it speed things up and it really takes a lot of the headache out of doing this. But unless you're in a pro shop, you don't need to spend a couple $100 on this stuff. Okay, full disclosure, the first time I ran through the switch change, I used the copper webbing just to try and be the cheapest. Unfortunately, that was a 40-plus minute root canal. So I am going to spare you that nightmare. I did finish up the switch out with the unheated solder vacuum, so it went a little bit faster. Only switched out one of the switches. I did swap out the left mouse button off camera using the electric vacuum pump. Went much smoother. So, that being said, let's get knee deep into this. All right, let's see what we got here. Have a Logitech M uh, 570 here. I have taken it apart a couple times just for cleaning, um, but as things do go, I have basically worn out the right mouse button on this. And yeah, if we're going to take one of them, or if we're going to take this apart to replace one, you might as well replace the other one. It's not that difficult. First step, of course, is to pop out the pretty blue ball and get the right screwdriver for the job. Now, I really don't need to take the battery out for this, but might as well go ahead and do that. Sometimes there was a pad, but it's long since been gone. You generally have to give these things a thorough cleaning once in a while anyway. But sometimes you will have to find these little openings. Now, I'm not saying that there are screws. You'll be able to use a sharp instrument or something. Knife fingers work too. Just kind of scratch it around in there and try and find a little soft spot. Sometimes there will be hidden screws in here. A lot of the times, they may even have a warning on them. Hey, if you break this, then your warranty's for shit now. But realistically, these things will last several years before you have to go anywhere close to replacing parts. If you don't find any screws by gently prodding in, start taking out these little pads, and you can usually find some of your hidden screws in here. I think there's one underneath this one too. Keep them. The sticky will wear off on these damn things, so if you're careful, keep them clean, and they'll be able to be put right back into place. Carefully take these apart. You have the inside, which, set that over to the side. We're not going to be messing with that. Take the little pads. Now, the switches that we're going to be replacing are these two little things here. This is the one that is giving me the problem, and if I'm opening this thing up and ripping it apart, you might as well replace both of them. The switches themselves are like 55 cents a piece, and I like this Trackball, so I've had it for probably a good 8 years or so, and it's just seen its better days. But that doesn't necessarily mean that it's not going to be able to see a bit more. Again, you want to find all of these hidden screws. Sometimes you can just gently pry up and find the focal point on where these screws are located at. I've got one right here. And you want to keep these separate from the ones that you take off from the outside. Pretty sure those are the ones. There's one here. Need to get it off. Actually, I think, yeah, this one belongs here. You can generally tell the different screws. Some of these will have flat heads. Some will have domed heads. You just want to keep them separate so that you can put them all back where they belong. And the idea is your first step is get these things off of here. You dumb thing, come on off. There we go. First step, of course, is finding replacement switches. And I don't know if you can see that right there. You generally don't have to take these things off to find the number, but they're usually the largest numbers that are printed on here. Let me get this thing out of the way. So I'm not sure if that's going to focus in or not, but that's where you want to find your number for a reorder. Let's see, is that it? Yep, that's it. Now, of course, the metal piece for the battery is also going to have to come with this, because where else are you going to get the damn power? Sometimes you can just pry this out of there as well, and there you go. So I already have ordered replacement parts for this, and as usual, the shipping and handling was more expensive than the damn switches. But, you know, you deal with what you got. So we have these two switches right there, and they will replace this switch here and this one over here. Now, if you have to bend things out of the way, yeah, go ahead. It ain't gonna kill nothing. But you'll notice switch here, switch here. You flip it over here and here. So those are the items that you are going to need to desolder. Might as well take this off. You do want to do that carefully, which I did not. It'll still go back in, just not as pretty as it one came out. There, just like that. But remember the orientation of when you take things off. That will go right in here. So the shiny side goes towards the battery. Okay, I'm going to try this another way. What I did before is I used a solder wick or soldering braid. Basically, it is used to soak up solder, if you can see. However, I went out online, did a little digging, and I didn't do the solder vacuum like this because I figured it might add a little bit of cost to everything, but I found an entire kit which included a solder iron and a solder sucker, desoldering pump, for about 20 bucks, 25 bucks. So realistically, you buy it once, it works. Well, yeah, I guess it works until it plugs up, until you can't use it anymore, and then you just buy another one. But it does make it a lot easier. So what I'm going to do, just quickly show you how this works real quick. Again, you might want to tin your lead just so you get a good contact. I don't know if I want to shove the other video on here or not. It's about 36 minutes long, and because I use this crap, it works. It doesn't work too well, but it works. But because it took so long, I figured And it'd probably not be a bad idea to redo this again. Something a little bit. First, you cock it. You come in here. You heat up the solder. You don't have to worry about generally putting it too close to the soldering iron, because it's generally made of, these tips are generally made of silicone. Some are made of plastic, more than likely. This one is plastic, but it's basically cock it and melt the solder, come in and suck the solder out of the hole. And this actually will get the solder from both sides, or at least it should. That looks like it's fairly well done. You won't really know until you start to take out the switch. But like I said, you just lay it up against. You wait until you see the solder go liquid, and then you hit the trigger right here, and it's supposed to suck the solder off. Now, unfortunately, you probably still are going to have to do a little bit of prying to get these things out. But I mean, 25 bucks for a set like this, yeah, might as well. Especially if you're going to do any kind of repetitive fixing work. Like I said, if you take care of them, they'll last you forever, or at least a while. Let's see if I can get this thing out now without much of a headache. You still may have to heat up. And it's probably not going to get 100% off, but now I do have, as you probably saw in the picture, I do have the soldering iron, well, desoldering iron gun. That is a little more expensive, so I'm not really going to use that with this, because for the regular fix-it guy, I really don't think you're going to want to invest probably a good 40-50 bucks in a desoldering tool. But unfortunately, again, you are probably still going to have to do a little bit of pry work to get this damn thing to come clean. And there's nothing to say that you can't re-hit it with your vacuum. Out it comes. And by all means, be patient. It may take a while, but eventually it will come out. Ooh, that's a little warm. Oh, that's a lot warm. Come on, there we go. There. So, again, second time, so there's really no point in putting in a new one because this is a new one. But I'll just put this back in. We'll do a quick reassemble. Clean this up a tad. There we go. Find a little hole. Shove it in the hole. And, you know, you may also want to give it one more hit with the little solder sucker here. Just so it goes in easier. Hit the trigger. Damn it. There we go. And watch that. Put this in the right way. Once it's off, you can also heat it up from the other side. I can see that this one, real close there, you can still see that it's a little plugged, so I'm not going to worry about it. I'm just going to heat it up and let it sink down in on its own. It's a freaking trackball, it's not NASA. You do, though, want to make sure that you don't stay too hot on these PC boards too long or use too much force because they do delaminate with heat. Might need to get a little bit more on there. Come on. Make sure your holes line up too. I think that's the problem. Maybe here. It could have gotten bent when I took it out. There we go. Pop these little puppies in. I gotta get the other one. There. And you want to get it flush up against the board too, just to make sure it doesn't sit too high. And then hit it with a little bit of sauter. Get a good electrical connection there. And you're done. Unplug my iron. Get my stuff out of the way. And we can put this all back together again. Hopefully it'll go. Get out of there! Alright. Put that in there. There we go. One off. Too bad they don't make those go one way. Okay, we are going to put it in like so, because that's the way it came out. Remember your orientation. Straight as an arrow. Get all them good little parts in there. There we go. And then start cranking the screws back in. But that would go a lot faster than using the pry method. And they now in the other video I already did the other side too. If you got all of this stuff taken apart, even if you're not having problems with the switches, you might as well go ahead and replace both of them. I'm not sure if I'm going to put the other video on there. Like it's just a matter of time. I could put it on the end of this and just speed it up, but there was a lot more time prying these two switches out. This is the one that I was having trouble with, but I went ahead and switched out this one as well. Since I had everything opened up. Plug that back in, and this should just drop in place. Dun, 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 dun. And then put the screws back in. because a screw is a terrible thing to waste. I may have said that before, but I'm going to say it again. And then you put, I think this one went on the other side. I don't really think it matters. I think they're both, all three of these are more than likely the exact same shape. So, anyway. Woohoo! Hey, battery. There we go. Cover. You might, yeah, it's still in there. It's my favorite. I don't know. It just feels good in the hand, and it doesn't. It tracks smoother than the new ones. I don't know why, but I have probably about 3 or 4 of these. The other ones I beat to hell to the point that they would not. Unfixable. Hopefully this helps with your next light repair job. The main thing is to dig around and find out with the small stuff just what you can do. Then work on something bigger. It's all about building skills, seeing what you can do, and then exploring more. This is Paul Satterley at the Me Do Institute, hoping to see you next time.